Alright, part 2. Support. How good are these weapons at supporting your team? How nice is it to have a teammate running one of these weapons? Not you running it, but a teammate running your weapons. Similar to my damage tier list, we're only looking at the support aspect of it. If it's really good at support but has shitty damage, I'm still going to put it at, like, S tier. If it has really good damage but sucks at support, I'm going to put it at F tier. I am not looking at damage whatsoever here. I'm just looking at what I would want my teammate to be running when I look at what they're running. All this is based around 10-man raid, and so Hive of Korkins and 5-man and 20-man do influence it, but with upcoming Nighthaven and Isle of Night, I am focusing on 10-man. Catacombs is the whole different thing because it's a 3-man composition. It's a different composition. Once you get less than 5 mans, it's hard to have like a proper team comp. All right, starting Lifestaff support. It is, I'm gonna put it A tier. It's the best at what it does. It heals, and it's great at healing, and it doesn't do anything else. That's why I'm gonna put it at A tier. You're gonna want at least 1 or 2 on your team somewhere, but it's kind of one of those things where you wish that slot could go to something else, but you know you need it. I've done Hive of Gorgons without a Lifestaff before. It's on my YouTube channel, I think. Maybe I haven't posted it, but I don't think it's possible anymore. Well, it's definitely possible. It's just a lot harder after they fixed the Medusa bug, where you could stand on the ledge and not get hit by a Medusa as a tank. Face tanking Medusa without Lifestaff is going to be very difficult. I know a couple people who could definitely do it, but they are few and far between. Lifestaff, solid choice. It's the best at what it does, but it doesn't do much. Just heals. Ooh, I forgot to change these. I'm just going to put Bleed and Evade at the same time. Actually, no. Bleed is more support. Evade, F tier. It does nothing for the team. There's not much to say. Sundering Riposte, maybe. Applies at 16% rend. Other than that, it does absolutely nothing. There's really not much to say about it. I'm just going to move on. Sword and Shield. In terms of only support, I'm going to put it A tier. Sorry, A tier. I'll put it with Lifestaff. It has leadership, which gives everyone in your group 10% of power. Here, let's just go to its tree, because most of it comes from the tree. It has a lot of different things it does. Whirling Blade and a light equip load does 15% rend. Achilles Heel, final attack, another 15% rend. You have leadership, gives all your group members 10% in power. Shield Rush weakens enemies by 20%, which is a lot more powerful than you think. Something like Defensive Formation, where you can actually protect your teammates from like big hits, like in Sandworm. It's very good, but it's not like. I'm kind of tempted to put it S tier. Now, it's not S tier. It's higher than Lifestaff, but it's not S tier, because it doesn't really do much other than just make mobs easier to kill, kind of thing, by rending them. Yeah, I'm happy with A tier. I like where that's put. I'm going to move on now. Great Sword. C tier. It's okay. Like, it has some support characteristics with Skyward Slash applying rend and disease, applying a lot of bleeds, but that's more of a DPS standpoint. Yeah, really, it's Rupture is actually kind of nice because it's a weekend, it pulls things in. From a tanking standpoint, Rupture is excellent, so is Counter. I'm gonna be countering. But if I was going into Hive of Gorgons and I saw my like teammate running Greatsword and they're not the tank, I don't want to see that. I would put that in F. But because it's good for tanks, I put it in C. Bleed Rapier, I'm also gonna put in C. The only reason it's better than Evade is because it is useless without Evade. Like, and Evade is useless without it. You need someone using Flourish and Finish to make Rapier worth it. And so, if I went into a raid as a Rapier and I saw a teammate running Flourish and Finish, it wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world in terms of support. It's by definition kind of more of a support role because you're actually helping your teammates. You don't do that much damage yourself. But it's definitely not a good support role. Blunderbuss, C tier as well. It's good damage. It can apply some interesting debuffs, but in our current PvE content, these debuffs don't do much. I'm like referring to Disease. Disease doesn't really do much in like Hive of Gorgon, Sandworm, M3s. Some M3s like Starstone, it's good, but we're kind of anticipating Isle of Night and Catacombs to have a lot more lifesteal, and so Disease is going to become more effective there because we're reducing their self-healing. That is just a random shot in the dark, though. It's just purely based on vibes. Moving on, Musket. I'm going to put in F tier, actually. Actually, no, C tier. The reason I'm going to put it in C tier, the only redeeming quality it has is Traps. Traps is the longest route in the game, which matters in something like Hive of Gorgons, where in Typhon, the wolves and corvids it spawns cannot be stunned or staggered, but they can be rooted. And so the best way to keep a corvid on the ground to hit it is through musket traps. They're hard to hit, but when you hit them, it's a 3-second route. That's more than anything in the game. And so traps are good on that end. Plus they apply a little bit of rend. Other than that, musket doesn't really do anything. Hatchet, I'm gonna put a B tier. Hatchet is kind of a hybrid damage and support weapon. And so when I do my all-around tier list, you'll see where Hatchet ends up. But you have Rending Throw, you have Infected Throw, you have Throwing Hatchets, and so if you have someone with like Freya's, that's 20% Rend, 15% Disease, and I think 10%. No, 15% Weaken, 10% Disease. Where's Hatchet? Effective Throw, 30% Disease, 10% Weaken. Weaken is really nice. Weaken is probably the hardest stat to cap out in our current endgame PvE. And so sources of Weaken end up being pretty useful. Increases, yeah. And it's AoE, it's not just single target. Rending Throw, 20% rend, and it's AoE as well. Effective Throw. Social Distancing also is a route. It's not a super good route, but it's still solid. This side doesn't really do anything for support. This side does a lot more for support. If I joined a raid and I saw a Freya, someone using like Freya and Spear, I'd be like, nice. It's not like meta. It's not something you're gonna see in every raid, but it's not bad. It's not like something like this. All right, moving on. Fire Staff. I'll put F tier. Fire Staff does nothing. Literally the only support I can think of is Incinerate applying a 12% weaken. And like I just said, weaken is valuable, but only 12%. And that's the only thing Fire Staff does. It's just kind of garbage. This only applies to yourself. This is just DPS loss. You apply some disease with Meteor Shower. That's literally it. Yeah, it's F tier. It's not as bad as Evade, but it's down there. Alright. Bow. I'm gonna put it high C tier. The reason I put it higher is because Lasting Rain of Arrows is really, really nice in something like Sandworm, where they can clean up a lot of little ads that are gonna pester you really easily. Other than that, it kind of sucks. All of its abilities are kind of damage focused. Evade Shot is not damage focused, but it still sucks. Yeah, that's kind of where Bow belongs, is high C tier. Warhammer S tier. It's one of the best support weapons in the game. Reasons why it's one of the best support weapons in the game. By itself, here, let's do the math. 30% from Armor Breaker. We're going to add 24 from having Clear Out on your weapon, Sundering Clear Out, that weapon perk, and then another 11 from having Sundering Shockwave on your armor. 65. That's 65% rend. Rend cap is 70%. So with Trenchant Rend on your hammer, and then you use those 3 abilities, you are already past rend cap. Granted, in raids, it's double. Rend cap's instead 140, but it by far has, it's like needed for its rend. You're gonna see it in almost every composition. Like Mutated's 5-man comps, you don't see it as much, because rend cap isn't as high, and when you have limited spots, it's kind of one of the first ones to go, because rend kind of is a diminishing return idea, where, yeah, it's better to have more damage than just rends, you know? And so, in 5-man comps, it's not as good, but still, it's something you're going to see absolutely everywhere. It's great on the tank, it's great on a support, like a Sword and Shield or a Hatchet. It's excellent. On top of it just rending, you have great crowd control. Shockwave is a stun for a second. Wrecking Ball is again a knockdown for a second. Clear Out is also a knockdown. It's not as good because it spreads them out, and so it's harder to hit all of them at once. Path of Destiny is a stagger, but Shockwave, Wrecking Ball, Armor Breaker is a popular combination. If you're not struggling with rend, if you're struggling with rend, you go Shockwave, Clear Out, Armor Breaker. I usually run Shockwave, Wrecking Ball, Armor Breaker. That's what my setup looks like. Just for the extra CC. But again, its rend is what makes it so good. The crowd control is just a nice side effect. Alright, Ice Gauntlet. I'll put it A tier. It's like low A tier, high B tier. It's very good at what it does, but it only does that thing. It's kind of like Life Staff. It's the best at what it does, but it only does slows and, yeah, slows and roots. Frost Shower is very good for like when you're doing skips. It traps the mobs so that you can keep running and they can't follow you. Ice Storm slows them all down, so same thing, you can drop it and then keep running. Wind Chill pushes things in a way that nothing else really can, and so it's very useful in certain things, like in Corrigan, the reindeers, the alpha reindeers cannot be moved by anything else except for Wind Chill. And so when you're speedrunning, you need someone with Wind Chill to move them around to where they need to be. It's the best at what it does, but it only does that one thing. That's why it's at A tier. Warhammer's the best at rend, and it's also great at crowd control. That's why it's S tier. Life Staff is really good at healing, doesn't do anything else, so it's A tier. SNS does a lot of things, but it doesn't do anything super well. Alright, Great Axe, I'm going to put A tier as well. It's the best at what it does. Again, clumping mobs with Gravity Well, Maelstrom, and Reap. There's nothing that compares. You're always going to see someone with Grav Well when you're like actually properly doing raids. Just because it's the best at what it does, and that's all it does really. But it is excellent at clumping. That's pretty much it. All right, Flail, S tier. Flail, best support weapon in the game. It does a lot. Passive healing to neighbors, passive fortify to other people, and tons of empower nearby, weaken from like power stone. Having a power stone, a good power stone build on any raid is going to make it infinitely easier. Its only weakness is refreshing. Its cooldowns are kind of long. You can't really shorten them, and that's intended, and so it's not just completely busted. That brings us to another point. Arcane Eruption. Where is it? Here it is. Debilitating Extension. The follow-up attack extends the duration of all debilitate status effects by 30%. This is how we extend Rend and Weaken infinitely. Arcane Eruption. And then over here. Where is it? I feel like this is not correct. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're missing a node right here. Let me check. Oh, I'm kicked from the game. Never mind. There's a node that increases the duration of damage over times on the target while above 50% health. I think it's this, but this is just wrong. I really don't. Oh, here. Oh, I'm so silly. While above 50% health, all flail attacks extend the duration of damage over time effects on targets by 7%. This is one of the ways we extend damage over time effects infinitely by having a flail spamming light attacks. And then Eruption. And then Vortex is an empower, 10% empower to all allies inside of a radius. Leader of the pack, 15% more base damage by yourself. That doesn't matter. When one or more allies are within 5 meters, they gain a power, increase their damage by dealt by 10%. It makes everyone nearby deal 10% more damage. Warding Bludgeon is excellent because Reinforced Fortify, increase armor by 50% for 8 seconds or until 3 hits are taken. This single-handedly saves people in things like Echidna, where when you have Bludgeon, you immediately are at max Fortify, and that allows you to tank things at 5 con. And it does weaken. And it can crowd control with trip and tanking. It's the best support weapon in the game. Flail is by far the best support weapon. Damage, it sucks, but Flail is the best support weapon in the game. If you're not running a Flail in your team, you are handicapping yourself. All right, Void Gauntlet. I'm gonna put Void Gauntlet in S tier as well. Yes. The reason being, Disintegrate, Rend, Weaken. It applies Rend, Weaken, Disease, and a bunch of Lifesteal, and Empower for the group. Like Oblivion, excellent. Empower to all the friendlies inside the area by 15%. And this can be 100% uptime because you have really short cooldowns with like Refreshing Precision, and then yeah, you have a lot of ways to increase your crit chance. You always have your abilities up. So Oblivion's really good. Scream is really good. Staggering and root enemies for 2 seconds. Orb of Decay is solid. Tether's good. Weakening enemies and empowering yourself. Essence Rupture is one of the things that makes Void Gauntlet so good. If you're not running Essence Rupture, it's simply because you're not the only Void Gauntlet, or you don't know what you're doing. Essence Rupture is excellent. It gives everyone 20% lifesteal who are hitting that target. So you put it on a boss, and now if people can restore, like a proper DPS can restore all of their health in less than a second, just from life leech. That's literally it. Essence Rupture is kind of like Flail, where if you don't run one on your team, you're crippling yourself. Oblivion's great. Yeah. S tier is what I'm going to keep as They're very good at multiple things, and if you aren't running one on your team, you are crippling yourself. A tier is you can get away with not running them, but they're very, very good. Yeah. Boy Gauntlets, definitely S tier. Spear, also S tier. Spear is kind of like Sword and Shield in the way where, let's pull up the skill tree. Skewer. Skewer doesn't do anything by itself, but its perk is Enfeebling Skewer, which is the highest weaken in the game. And again, weaken is the hardest stat to cap out currently, and so Enfeebling Skewer is very, very nice to have because it kind of pushes you over the breakpoint for a lot of one-shots in like Havoc Gorgons, where like a spider will one-shot you, but if it's Enfeebled Skewered, then it doesn't one-shot you anymore, which is very, very important. Because again, you can heal yourself back to like full if you have Essence Rupture, and Leech and Flurry. And so Skewer is very good. Perforate is weaken and rend. Fall Kick staggers and stuns. Sweep knocks down and does a lot of damage, but we're not talking about damage right now. Javelin, Sundering Javelin, does almost 50% rend, which is more than any other ability, but it only applies above 50% health. So after 50% health, it falls off, and you can't use it anymore, which is unfortunate, but it kind of makes sense for how broken it is. When you're just clearing trash mobs, Sundering Javelin is so nice because it makes an alpha pretty much rend cap almost instantly, and you can just burst it down. You don't have to do any other abilities. Cyclone, self-sustain, it's very good in Mutated, but in array composition, you don't really see Cyclone much. Cooldowns don't exist with like Refreshing Reach, wherever the other one is, Refreshing Jabs. You have a lot of cooldown reduction. Oh yeah, Vault Kick. You can permanently CC a mob with Spear. Javelin, Sweep, Vault Kick. With that combination. Like, think of a random mob from Gorgon. That mob, you could keep knocked down, stunned, or staggered indefinitely with Spear. By one Spear by itself. Often you'll see multiple Spears on a team just because they're so good. But even one Spear by itself can completely just cripple a mob, a random mob. It just makes it so they can't hit ever. They're constantly staggered. Crowd control. Spear is very good. It's a very good support weapon. Weaken, rend, CC. I would argue it's the best at crowd control. And it's definitely very good and it's the best at weekend. Actually, no, Flail's better at weekend, but it's the second best at weekend. And it's very good for rends. You can get 45% rend from Perforate when you're running 2 Perforates, and then Sundering Javelin. Spear is like, if I were to order these, I would probably put it this way. Yeah, in terms of speedrunning, I play Spear Great Axe, which is a very, very common combination where you run Scorpion Sting so you can pull things towards you, and then Great Axe. You can clump like huge groups together in the exact same spot, and so something with like a small hitbox like Rapier can hit all of them at once, and then you just swap to Spear and just crowd control all of them, and then someone with like a hammer can help you crowd control a second Spear even. Like, Spear Great Axe is something you don't see much, but it is very good. And then you can swap from like off Great Axe to like Hatchet for bosses for extra DPS. Alright, that's the end of the support ranking. Let me look down here how I would rate these. Yeah, this is how I would rate them. Yeah, these, you gotta have them somewhere on your team. If you're not trying, if you're actually like trying to clear something. These, theoretically you could get away with, but they are life staff you kind of need, but it's still, I just want to put it high A because it doesn't do anything besides healing. Flail heals, Void Gauntlet heals, and they also do other things. Life staffs, yes, better at healing, but if you really want to, the passive healing from Flail and Void Gauntlet, it's possible to clear like Medusa with, you know. Essence Rupture, it's very good at healing. As long as your tank is hitting the boss, it's healing itself. Flail, passive healing to everyone around you. It's really good. Anyways, yeah, I'm happy with this ranking. I think it's funny that B tier, the middle, only has Hatchet, but that's just kind of how it ends up. These suck for support, and these are support weapons. Yeah, that's what I'd say about support.